Hello, and welcome to the Worlds of Heroic Adventure. I am Kaybe Angel, and I am a professional game master. Terradraconum is a setting I am collaboratively building with about a dozen players across several different campaigns. In this video, I'll be describing the events that transpired this week in those campaigns. To start from the beginning, find the playlist in the video description below. Now, let's get started with the first campaign. Ixion's Rest. Last time, Ixion's Rest left off with a pile of burning bodies after a ghoul attacked Ivory and Jed's joint caravan, leaving Obsidian the merchant and several guards dead, and Ivory's bodyguard Jade crippled but alive. Blaine claimed the magic sword from the corpse of the wight that led the ghoul attack. He couldn't use it himself, but it is a valuable find. One player, my VTuber friend Pannaps, was unable to make it this week due to an evil spell of compelled labor at the Wizard Dollar Store, so his character, the undead slayer Dala, is considered around but off scouting on his horse during the important events of today's session. He should return next week. The party was fatigued from the long night, I should say. They were fatigued from the long... Let's just restart that paragraph. The party was fatigued from the long night of fighting and burning bodies. But not wanting to stay put, they patched up their wounds, prepared the wagons, and moved out. It would take them at least 3 days to reach Ixion's Rest, with the hands and wagons that they had to move. We cut then to another man. His name is Forge. He is a faithful follower of the Church of the Cerulean Sky. Their banner is hanging from his polearm as he rides on horseback across the plains. He is exhausted and alone in a dangerous world. This man is, in fact, the survivor of the ghoul attack Dawa discovered last session, and our fourth player character. By the hands of fate, as he wanders lost without compass or a map of in a land foreign to him, he spots the Ivory caravan in the distance. Blaine rides out ahead of the caravan to meet this stranger on the hill in the distance, and he's then brought in to meet with Ivory and Jed, the caravan leaders. It becomes clear in time that he was a survivor of the same swarm of ghouls that the caravan had killed the night before. They explain that they are heading to Ixion's Rest as a group. Forge's group was going to Ixion's Rest as part of their missionary work from the Church of the Cerulean Sky, though that mission is obviously in shambles now. Forge joins the party. The rest of the day goes easily enough. Camp is made, rest is had, no more attacks, no more danger. The next day, Blaine rides out ahead of the caravan, looking for a defensible place to camp later that night. When finding a suitable location, he is, however, spotted by a group of strangers. 3 orcs on horseback. The leader rides up, holds up an empty hand, and extends greetings. He speaks in the common tongue and asks Blaine if he is lost. The orc introduces himself as Juka, the son of chief of the Bata tribe of orcs. When Juka learns about the caravan, he extends the offer of hospitality to all of them. After some caution, eventually the caravan decides to trust the orc's offer. Juka appears trustworthy, and it would be culturally unthinkable for anyone local here to betray the law of hospitality during the season of Ixion's Rest. They follow Jukat to his people. Yurts and tents cover the area. Some 100+ adults, another couple dozen children, 200+ horses, countless sheep. Chief Bog Bata and his alchemist wife greet the party. Bog seems to be aware of sightings of undead in the area, but is more concerned about his immediate problem. Packs of strangely intelligent and well-coordinated wolves have been making probing attacks against his herd as of late. He invites the party to join him and his family for dinner. A sheep is slaughtered, roasted, served with various dairy-based sides made from sheep's milk. After dinner, Ivory and her maid Malachite end up playing with the village, or rather the tribe's children, including Juka's younger sister Bulla. The children have never seen a catfolk before, and Ivory is very fluffy. Eventually, night falls, and the party are at rest. In the midnight, there's a shout from a shepherd on duty. Wolves. The orcs react to defend their herd. The PCs, likewise, grab their weapons, rush out to help. It's dark. Too dark for the humans to see much, but Juka is holding a torch from the back of his mount, illuminating part of the field. As other orcs with torches move to defend the herd, it becomes clear that this is a huge pack. Dozens of wolves making strikes from a half dozen different directions all at once. Our group meets one pack alongside the chief's son and does battle. Ivory fires her double-barreled musket, Blaine transforms, starts blasting, Forge immediately proves his worth to the others, shouts at Ivory to reload, moves towards the wolves with his spinning halberd, and immediately decapitates one of the wolves. The fight lasts only a couple dozen seconds. Throughout that time, and a lot of gunfire from Ivory, 5 wolves lay dead. The rest need a quick retreat away from the camp. But before they can celebrate, a scream is heard from inside the orc camp. "Mom?" Juka exclaims and rushes towards the camp. The party follows. What they find is Shala, the mother of Juka, is unharmed. But one orc warrior is dead, torn to shreds by something large, and Bulla is missing. Shala says it was a creature, huge, hairy, powerful. It killed the guard, threw Bulla over its shoulder, and carried her away into the night faster than Shala could run. After examining the site and the testimony, Forge declares that the beast is a werewolf. Juka does not care what it is, and swears to rescue his sister. Shala does emphasize that Bulla was alive when the creature took her. The party stops him just long enough to get their own horses and follow with him. Blaine begins tracking the beast through the night. After a short while, still dark, the trail leads to a hillside. Juka, the only one with dark vision, tells the others that there is a ruined tower. From the time of the Devil Kings, he says, atop the hill. The tracks, though, lead into a cave at the base of the hill. Forge lights a second torch, throws it into the cave to illuminate it. Waiting inside are cleared defenses, wooden spikes to deter horses, and funnel invaders into a very central path. Forge expects a trap. The party decides to explore the ruined tower first, hoping to find a back door. At the top of the hill, they're attacked by more wolves. Forge dismounts his horse to battle the wolves, and when one gets too close to his animal, it is spooked and runs away into the night. Forge regrets this action. More gunfire, more blasts, 3 wolves lay dead. Exploring the ruins, they find the remains of a campfire, now cold, signs of wolves living here for some time, and a partially collapsed tower. Blaine pokes around in the partially collapsed tower and discovers some stairs leading downward under a collapsed part of the roof, clearly unused for many years. Deciding it might be a back door into the werewolf's lair that the wolf might not be expecting anyone to come from, the party works together to clear the obstacle. A successful roll allows them to do so without becoming fatigued, and as the sun rises, they prepare to descend. Next time on Ixion's Rest. Thieves of Ashport. Last time, our Thieves of Ashport successfully completed their first major heist, stealing a saintly relic and a Dawn Silver Crown. Now, filthy rich, the thieves must decide what to do with their earnings. Al invests in himself, buying magical items to help him do his job better. Glasses of sociability, spotless spats, and purifying spoon. Wegton hoards his wealth for now. He begins making plans for a meeting place, a home/church, from which to discuss his philosophy with like-minded individuals. But the costs of such a building are more than he currently has. He does, however, buy some rare varieties of apples and reagents to stockpile a few healing elixirs. The doll, the librarian. She, however, has other plans. She finds a corner of unmaintained sewers in Midtown, blocks off the entrance, and builds for herself an underground hideout. With the money she has left over, she has Al help her track down a minor noble with an Aeon Stone to sell. She purchases it, acquiring a polished pebble, which circles around her head now. Now she just needs to uncover a wayfinder for it, though that won't be easy. Jack, the doctor, invests in his clinic, and decides to step away from the life of crime, for now. Unfortunately, the player needed to leave the campaign for some personal reasons. They are welcome back whenever they are able to, but in the meantime, Jack will be an NPC doctor. We are pressing onward with those other three players, but that does mean that we have a very empty seat. See the links in the description of the video to join in our Thieves of Ashport, or any of our campaigns. Over the next few days, some time passes. On his way to the market, Wegton sees a shouty street-side preacher. An old bearded man who's desperately trying to warn people that the unnatural and exploitative life of this city would eventually bring down the wrath of Goji upon them. That, for their own good, they must leave the city, return to the farmland and the villages, or the nomadic lifestyle of the orcs and the centaurs of the Ixion plains. Wegton engages the old man in discussion, making the claim that humanity should not simply live by the dictates of the Titans, even if they did create humanity. The preacher, his name is Sokol, the prophet of Goji, disagreed with part of what Wegton said, but the man saw he possessed some wisdom. They will speak again. Meanwhile, Al was woken around noon by his friend Harry Cotton, a Bunvolk gambler. Harry had managed to worm the two of them into a poker night with one Deerite Softpaw, a catfolk man and one of the 4 Softpaw siblings that run the Softpaw gang. Dio's job is to run the family's underground casino. Harry managed to steal a deck of cards that the casino uses and mark the cards. But it'll be up to Al to swap the cards into the playing deck at the poker game. The stakes are high. Cheating Dio in his own casino would be a very, very bad thing to get caught doing. But Al manages it. At the end of the game, Al and Harry are both up a small but not insignificant amount of gold. After their downtime, Mr. Lester Ruth of the Dawn Silver Syndicate again contacts Wegton. There's a package being smuggled in tonight, underneath a shipment of lumber. Wegton is offered 100 gold to receive the package from the smugglers, take it to Warehouse 13, and keep it safe until Mr. Ruth's runners come to claim it in the morning. Mr. Ruth allows Wegton to subcontract whomever he wants to bring in on this security job, and gives him the key to the front door of the warehouse. Wegton gathers the party. The party agrees to pay the librarian's green heron familiar in fish, and they set off. Wegton purchases a cart to carry the lumber in. Mr. Ruth said he didn't really care what happened to the lumber shipment, so Wegton plans to keep some of it for his own construction plans. At the dock, they find a nearby bar is still open, but nothing suspicious is going inside as far as they can tell. The heron, his name is Drak, keeps lookout from above. The ship comes in with a package, and as much lumber as they can carry, along with the packages loaded into Wegton's cart, and they make their way towards the warehouse. As they make their way there, Wegton notices that a suspicious man in dark green cloak and hood is following them. The librarian sends her familiar to watch the man, and then leads the party into the city underground through a storm drain. Cart and lumber are abandoned, keeping with them only the heavy package. They emerge from the city underground elsewhere, rendezvous with the familiar, and it informs them it was actually two cloaked figures following. One was just better at hiding. But they didn't follow into the storm drain, and the party has shaken their tail for now. They make their way to Warehouse 13, open the door, and the rest will be next time on Thieves of Ashport. The Kraken's Lonely Mistress. As mentioned last week, the Kraken's campaign started a week delayed, so this week we had their first session. We open on the town of Dog's Breath, and Homecoming. Coming up the road from the south arrive two individuals. A strange fellow by the name of Zafi. A young man, though older than he looks, with elven ears, and a heritage that connects him to the angels on his mother's side. The sorcerer is returning home to the small town of Dog's Breath after having just finished his religious studies in the church down in Ashport. Accompanying him, a powerful woman in plate armor with icons of the cerulean sky is Honora Ward, a champion of the church. Her official mission is to eventually make her way up to the town of Silent Sea to deliver a minor relic to the care of the bishop there. Her implied and unofficial mission is to keep an eye on and report anything out of ordinary regarding Zafi. Some in the church believe the young man has the potential to be a saint in the future, but his sometimes odd behavior and the fact that his father is some unknown elf makes some distrust him, fearing he may be a pawn in a fey plot, the details of which are yet to be revealed. Regardless, the pair arrive at Za's childhood home. They knock on the door. Zelfi, Za's mother, opens the door. She's surprised to see them, having not expected Za's arrival for a few more days. She welcomes him in, asks Za to introduce his girlfriend, asks about wedding bells, etc., etc. After assuring Zel that their relationship is purely professional, Zel says that Honora is welcome to stay with them for tonight, but first they must all go to the Blue Dress, the inn and tavern in town, to have dinner. They make their way there, and as they do, Zel makes sure to let Za know that his childhood friend Sally, who works at the Blue Dress, is in fact still unmarried. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. After they arrive and order food, we cut to our second group approaching Dog's Breath. A curious bunvolk and a mudslinging dwarf. They've been traveling for days. The bunvolk, and I may need a couple of takes to get this name right, Sylviana Maeve Gildoran Alloway, Sylvie to her friends, and Gildoran to everyone else, has heard confusing rumors of disappearances in Dog's Breath and is here to investigate. Her longtime friend, Ariel Bronzebottom, is here to make sure that Sylvie doesn't die. When they finally arrive in town, it's evening, they've been walking all day, they seek out hot food and a soft bed. Finding the Blue Dress Inn and Tavern to be the natural place to go, they walk in. After being seated, by chance or by fate, nearby to the table where Za, Zel, and Honora are eating, the two groups of unusual folk take note of each other. After building up his courage to ask, Zafi makes it awkward by asking to touch the bunvolk's ear, and offering to let them touch his elf ears in compensation. This does not go well. But shortly thereafter, the tavern door opens again. A man enters, Zafi knows this man. It's a town farrier, Johannes Smith. A skilled tradesman that Zelfi has long trusted her animals to when she went on missions for the church when Za was a child. Johannes, however, looked horrible. He had the look of a man that had been crying for some time, and it was just now had it well enough together to stand up. The tavern goes completely silent. Everyone seems to know what is wrong, and nobody says a word. Johannes walks over to the bar with heavy footsteps. The bartender pours him a whiskey and leaves the bottle without a word. Za whispers to Zell, asking what's going on, and Zell explains the long, sad story. Za is aware that Johannes' wife died some 10 years ago. Tragic, but in the distant past now. She left Johannes with 4 daughters. All several years younger than Za. They would be ranging from 22 at the oldest to 17 for the youngest at this time, though Za hasn't seen any of them in a few years, being away for college. Zell explains, last autumn, a creature came to Johannes' house in the midnight. A monster of a man, his face hard as diamonds, his eyes as cold as ice. The thing came from Kernsridge Barrow, outside of town, and it took the eldest daughter, May, a skilled weaver and seamstress, skilled at working magical cloth, as his bride. The town went to the local knight, Sir Hartman. Hartman set out with his men-at-arms to slay the monster, but when his men were attacked by the undead, 2 were killed, the rest retreated. Hartman declared May's death a sacrifice to the old man of the Barrow for the good of the town. He paid Johannes Wergild for his loss, and seemed to think that settled the matter. His duty was done. 4 months later, in the midwinter, the old man from the Barrow came again. This time he took Abba, second youngest daughter, who was training to take over her father's business. Johannes says he tried to stop the monster, attacking it himself, but as he raised the weapon, it sang a song to him that he could feel but not hear, and it froze his body. He was paralyzed, could not stop, as his second daughter was taken as the bride of the old man from the Barrow. Again, the town petitioned Sir Hartman to act. Sir Hartman refused to deal with the monster again, paid Johannes for his sacrifice for the good of the town. Johannes nearly drank himself to death with that money that winter. When spring came, Hannah, the third daughter, was taken. Even despite that Hannah worked in Sir Hartman's house, and he knew her face and her name, he refused again to do anything. Declared that Johannes must have brought this curse upon himself. This ancestor must be punishing him, or perhaps Johannes was making dark pacts with occult powers and blaming the old man from the Barrow for his own crimes. Johannes, of course, denied such accusations. That was 4 months ago. Now, at the near end of summer, Zell presumes it has happened again. That the last daughter, Paula, a child of only 17, has been taken. Honora accidentally breaks her drink mug with barely contained rage. Sylvie and Bronzebottom overheard the story from their seats nearby. The 4 of them immediately decide that they must do something. They must rescue the girl. Zell does not try to stop them. Instead, she tells Za that she knew that this day would come. His powers, his divine magic, was always much more powerful than hers, and that he should use these powers to help people. With that, she pushes a gun into the sorcerer's hands and a pouch with 10 cartridges. The party go first to see the knight. Sir Hartman agrees to meet with Za. He tells the story from his perspective. When his men and him went to the Barrow, they were attacked by skeletal warriors. One of his men-at-arms crushed the skull of one of the skeletons, and there was a necromantic backlash. Shards of bones flew everywhere, killing the man that triggered it and wounding several others. Another man was torn apart by bleeding corpses. The men broke into a rout. Hartman fled. Honora calls out the knight for his cowardice, insults him for refusing to solve the problem. Hartman countered by deputizing Honora and tasking her to solve the problem on his behalf and promising a gold reward. The question was raised to the knight, why has he not sought help from above? Hartman only said, the king won't send men this far south anymore, and the count is distracted with recent events. They asked no further questions. The party made final preparations. It was clear they would have to do things themselves. Za was able to get some holy water and healing potions on credit from shopkeepers that knew him, and the party then sets out for Kern Ridge Barrow. They have no hope of finding the older girls alive, but they hold out a flicker of hope that they can still rescue Paula. By the time they arrive at the Barrow, the sun has set. Honora lights a torch. Za makes himself glow with a red light. They begin exploring around. There are 6 different Barrows here, all of them open, and it isn't obvious which one is best to start in. They peer into one, see piles of rusty weapons and bones, along with some weapons along the walls next to more complete skeletons. Expecting those to animate if they enter, they look elsewhere. Another Barrow filled with bones, another one larger, but no sign of the girls or the old man. Sylvie calls down a raven from a nearby runestone. This raven speaks. Its name is Quoth. This raven speaks. Its name is Quoth. Quoth is her familiar and has been watching things from a distance. They ask him to fly around and see if he can see anything. Za casts a blue light spell on the raven to help him see. Quoth returns quickly, saying he heard a sobbing woman in the northeastern Barrow. Honora and the others run to that location. When Honora enters, her torchlight reveals a dead woman in a tattered wedding dress, her belly bulging as if heavily pregnant. She screams at Honora and attacks. The Barrow wife lets out first a mournful wail that freezes the soul like ice, and then strikes with blows that hit like hammers. Breaking Honora's shield in a few slams. Sylvie slides into the flank. Bronzebottom coats herself in armor of stones and dishes out powerful strikes. As the fighting happens, Za recognizes the corpse bride as the oldest sister, May. Despite the recognition, Za helps in putting May down, firing divine blasts of spirit energy into her. As Sylvie stabs May through the back with her sword cane, she drops. But the fight is not over. May's belly convulses, and something inside bursts out. Something like a cross between an infant and an octopus with dagger-like teeth emerges. Honora, disgusted, slays the creature before it can attack. Among the bones and remains in the room, they find a newly finished magical cloak and sewing tools. This thing May had become was intelligent enough to keep working on her craft. Za suspected it was something to do with the light which caused her to attack, and asked to try and talk to the next sister in the dark, if possible. But that will have to wait until next time on The Kraken's Lonely Mistress. Thank you for listening. Hit this like and subscribe button below to let me know you want to keep hearing about my adventures. And if you want to join any of these campaigns, or others I might be running, if you are seeing this video in the long future, check the links to my Start Playing page in the description of this video. You can also see on the same channel some recorded and edited actual plays of my other campaigns. See the Tales of Principles for a JRPG-inspired campaign, and The Legend of Zelda: Cycles of Power for adventuring in the land of Hyrule 100 years after the defeat of Calamity Ganon. Have a good one.